So I want to do a quick studio tour video here, and of course, every time I say I'm going to do a quick video, it ends up being this long, drawn-out monstrosity. So I'm going to try not to do so much rambling here on this video, but be as succinct as possible. So that in mind. The studio sort of going left to right here. So starting on the left here, we've got the Malacat on top, which is sort of a digital xylophone, I guess. And that typically, is MIDI. So I typically send it down to the motif. I also have another sound canvas I can use for it as well. But that obviously is going to be a future restoration project. It's not in the greatest shape, so I will be taking off all of those bars probably because they're all kind of not in the right place and got moved around a little bit. I've already had to reattach one. Used some double-sided tape to reattach. It seemed to work pretty well. I'm not sure if that's the best way, but I'm going to look into that a little bit more before I go ahead and take that thing kind of apart, clean it all up, and then reattach all of those bars. Below that is the Yamaha Motif synthesizer, which I've had for years and years, decades, and it's always worked great for me, and that's sort of my main synth. The next thing over is sort of this hand percussion instrument here. This is an electronic hand percussion controller, Hansonic. I've had this for a while. It actually works really great and has its own sounds on board. So I can send it out MIDI to another device, or I can use its onboard sounds, and that thing is actually pretty great. I use it a lot. Then I've got this sort of whole rack of gear. I'm not really going to go through that. It's not all that exciting. Next thing is the it's the FW1884. This is sort of the heart of the old studio. And this is sort of my everything machine for the PC side of thing on the DOTS. So this is my control surface. It also has a 4x4 MIDI patch bay in it that I use for my MIDI routing. It has it's the control surface and the audio interface for the computer. It has I guess 16 potential inputs, including the digital, and another 8 actually on top of that, because it also has that light pipe or ADAT input, which is just fiber from my little ADAT preamp, which is really convenient too. So this is a really awesome unit. It actually is something I'm probably going to replace with another one. I'm going to try to replace it with the exact same unit. They're pretty cheap now. And I'm having a little trouble with this one, so I'm going to replace that probably, and in the future. But right now, it actually works mostly. So that's sort of the heart of the whole setup for the DAW. So the next thing over is the SPDS Roland sampler with the 9 pads on it. This is a really great addition to the drum kit I've had for a long time. And it works really great. I've got a microphone always connected to it, so I can record in whatever sounds I want to reproduce on those pads. So this is a really neat unit. And then the drum kit all runs out through this Roland amplifier. I guess it's PM3, I guess. And this thing has the subwoofer part down on the floor, and then it has these little separate speakers up on the rack for the highs. And of course, the studio has always sort of been centered around this Roland drum kit that I've had forever, in one version or another, and sort of been an ever-evolving thing. And right now, its module is a TD12 with a sort of failing LCD screen. I'm not sure if I'm going to do something about that or not, but most of the time, you really can't read it. And the next, we've got the Jam Station thing here, which is sort of my substitute for having friends. And this thing works pretty well if you want to just jam out or practice a little bit or whatever. Okay, and last but not least is the newest addition to the setup, which is the Roland VS2400, which I've got other videos up already about. And I've already played with it quite a bit. And that is the studio.